Okay, how average people are becoming millionaires every single day. Now, before we get into this one, if you find my content valuable, I'd like you to go ahead and hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. All right, let's get into this one, but I want you to stick through the end of the video because we are going to talk about some statistics and some concepts that will hopefully help you feel that you also can reach this magical millionaire status for yourself, okay? So how average people are becoming millionaires every single day. And if you saw the thumbnail to my video, you already know that there is a rise in 401k millionaires. And I ask, why not you? Why can't you be one of those 401k millionaires? You certainly can. There's a few things that you need to do as far as discipline, as far as avoiding certain debts, and you also want to eliminate as many bills as you can, like car payments and even a house payment. But once you do that and you add in that ingredient, regular contribution to something like a 401k at work, you will join a lot of these people who have done extremely well and reach millionaire status being just average, normal, everyday people, okay? Now, an interesting statistic is that if you're in a room and you have 15 people, one of those people have probably reached millionaire status. Now, there are a lot of things that play into how these people reach millionaire status. One thing is housing. Housing has increased in value so much, even here recently in the last 5 years. And so millionaires have crossed into millionaire status because of their housing. But another area that has been very, very powerful in creating millionaires is investing in paper assets. Now, the third thing is there are folks who have developed businesses, and that has helped them to create their millionaire status by having a thriving business that they started. But we're going to talk a lot about the paper asset side because the normal average person can easily purchase paper assets in something like their 401k. I often suggest an S&P 500 fund or a total stock market index fund, S&P 500 index fund, total stock market index fund, or, you know, some people want to have some international exposure, so a world market fund that includes North American stocks as well as stocks from around the world. But putting that into a 401k, for many people, has been the path for average folks. Those average folks, many that I talk to, who are earning anywhere from that $30,000 a year as a single person to a couple being in that $50,000 to $100,000 a year, is right there in that middle class. A lot of those folks can do extremely well and reach millionaire status through something like a 401k. To go into something that was really neat that I took a look at was Dave Ramsey's study. He had 10,000 millionaires in this study, and he looked at all 10,000 of these millionaires, okay? And he asked them very, very specific questions. And I have some notes here right on my camera so that I can kind of go through these. Now, what they found is that 33% of these millionaires that Dave Ramsey surveyed never earned more than $100,000 a year as they were going through and got to their millionaire status. That's amazing. 33% never earned more than $100,000. That should be very encouraging to you, because I know many that I talk to, or many that listen, and you probably earn less than $100,000. Now, if you earn more, congratulations, great job. But many earn less than $100,000. But it should be encouragement that you can reach that millionaire status without earning that much, okay? In America, about 544,000 Americans hit millionaire status in 2024. So 544,000 Americans reached millionaire status. That's awesome. You know, it shows you that you have the ability to get there. A lot of people have, okay? And in Dave Ramsey's study, he found that the profession of people that reach millionaire status, number one was engineer, number two was accountant, but what I think is really cool is that number three was a teacher. Of these 10,000 millionaires that were surveyed, the third highest in a rank of profession that were millionaires were teachers. And teachers are probably right in there in that middle class income. So you aren't talking about a big high income, but what you are talking about is someone who took advantage of a company plan, like a 401k, and distributed that money into that 401k over and over and over again. And at some point, it reached critical mass, and they actually got past that millionaire status. Incredible, incredible, okay? Dave Ramsey also gave the example that if you took a 25-year-old and they were to deposit $1,000 into their 401k, and each and every month they put in $400 after that from age 25 to age 65, and whatever they invested in, let's say that it's the S&P 500. Now the S&P 500 has returned 10% since its inception. But what Dave Ramsey said in his particular scenario is that it was 7%. So think about that. Not 10%, but 7%. Again, 25-year-old, deposit $1,000 in the beginning, do $400 a month from age 25 to age 65, would reach millionaire status with just a 7% return. This is doable. It is definitely doable, especially if you skip car payments. I often talk to people about car payments. I drive a 97 Honda Civic that has 297,000 miles on it, 297,000 miles. And that car turns on every single time I turn it on. I almost want to hug that car when I see it, because what it's given me in terms of being able to focus some more on saving for things like retirement and a 401k. So you can do this. This is possible if you just make it a priority, even if you're on a very average income. Okay? So that is incredible. Now, another incredible statistic is that about 1,000 people a day in 2024 reached millionaire status. About 1,000 people per day. I want you to be one of those people. You can get there. And a vehicle like a 401k is a very, very smart and efficient way to get to that 1,000 or that $1 million rather status and get that under your belt. These are amazing statistics. But before I close this one out, I would like to talk a little bit about an attitude, about 401ks, an attitude about capitalism and the way that our country and other countries around the world operate as far as in capitalistic systems. There's a negative connotation to it, especially now, because people are going through struggles. They're losing jobs. They're getting to the point to where they just feel like they're a number at the corporation that they work for. And I have deep empathy for folks because there are a lot of layoffs happening now, mass layoffs at different companies. You see it in the transportation sector with UPS, or the delivery sector rather, with UPS, FedEx, and different companies like that. Just laying people off left and right. I also watch YouTube and see these creators that take TikTok videos from various people who have been laid off. And there's even doctors and nurses who have been laid off. And a nurse can get a job, at least in the past, at the drop of a hat. And doctors and nurses being laid off. And so there is this situation where companies are looking to maximize their profits. And if you think about it, one of the greatest costs for a company is labor. Your work is some of their highest cost. And so when things like AI come along, what do you think that they're going to do? They're going to cut back that workforce because they can do the same things and have even greater profits by introducing AI, robotics, and different things like that. And this is tough. I am one who thinks that having a strong middle class is the promise kind of America, where you can kind of climb up to the middle class and even get to the upper class. But that ladder, more and more, is being kicked away for people where they have a lot harder time climbing that ladder. And layoffs, AI, some of the things that are going on in the government are making it a lot more difficult to climb that ladder. So I get it. You might have a little bit of a negative feeling and perspective about capitalism. But let me tell you, it is what it is. It's very, very hard for you and me as individuals to affect that. Yes, you certainly can look at candidates, political candidates, and try and vote for those who are looking for incentives for companies and things like that to hire folks in so that we have a strong and robust middle class. But at the end of the day, you have to deal with life where the rubber hits the road right now. And let me tell you something about these companies. There is what do you call it, pecking order of who is important as far as these corporations are concerned, okay? And unfortunately, you, as a worker, are somewhere near the bottom of that pecking order. But guess who's at the top of that pecking order? The shareholder. The one who has purchased assets that are shares of those companies. I often recommend an S&P 500 fund or a total stock market fund. I use S&P 500 index fund because it's easy for me to explain on these videos. You want to do your own research. But when you have an S&P 500 fund, that's the top 500 companies here in America. And I guarantee you, a lot of those companies are looking at efficiencies, they're looking at AI, they're looking at robotics and all of these different things, and they're trimming their workforces. But what they're looking at are those people who invest. So if you invest in an S&P 500 index fund within your 401k, you go to the top of the pecking order for these companies. They're looking for you to be ecstatic about their earnings. They're also rewarding you for putting some money in the terms of dividends, where they pay you a little bit for you actually investing with them on a regular basis. It's different, quarterly or however their dividends go out. So you go from the bottom of the pecking order to the top of the pecking order by getting this straight in your mind and actually investing in something like a 401k. I'll also throw in here some of the magic of something like a 401k. The magic of it is that it puts automation into place where you do not have to utilize your willpower and, take and actually make it happen every single paycheck. It just happens automatically. It comes right off the top and you don't even miss it. You don't even see it. It happens so quickly before your check even hits your bank account. This is powerful. This kind of forces good behavior as far as savings is concerned. And I think it's a big reason why quite a few people are crossing millionaire status through their 401k often first. because this automatic behavior is there just by how 401ks are set up. So it's a very, very powerful tool that you want to utilize to become a part of these folks who are the 1,000, at least in 2024 per day, who hit millionaire status. Many of them through company plans like the 401k. I'll throw out here, even if your company doesn't have a 401k, I would still leverage through something like a Roth IRA or a brokerage account. The thing is, again, become one of the elite, the creme de la creme for these companies by becoming a shareholder. And like I said, I recommend index funds. Do your research, because I'm not a financial advisor, but that way you're purchasing a little piece of a bunch of companies, so that if one company isn't performing well within that index fund, you have many other companies that may be performing well, and it gives you more diversity and the ability to hopefully capture good returns in the future, because you have that diversity, so it isn't as risky for you. But you want to become a shareholder. You want to have priority in your mind to purchase assets, minimize your liabilities, so that you can become one who reaches millionaire status. It gives you that flexibility. It gives you that freedom to do what you want, when you want, how you want. Whether that's retire, whether that's work part-time, whether that's not work at all, as in retirement, or some combination of that. Or you can pursue that business that you always wanted to pursue, or whatever it is. So take advantage of these things. I will throw one more analogy in this, and then I'll close it off. I kind of see it like a bullet train. And in other countries, they have these bullet trains that go like 220 miles per hour. These bullet trains are extremely fast. And it's as if you're at the terminal for that bullet train. You have a choice. You can either purchase a ticket and get on that bullet train, or you can sit at the station and complain about the bullet train. Let's say that you don't like the bullet train, the way that it's painted. You don't like the way that it sounds or whatever, but that bullet train is going. And in this analogy, that bullet train is like the stock market. It's like the markets around the world where you could purchase paper assets. And that bullet train is going extremely fast now. And over time, it's going from down here to up here, okay? You may as well purchase your ticket, or you're going to be left at the station complaining about the capitalism train. You're going to be complaining about the government. You're going to be complaining about these different companies laying people off. And again, I do sympathize with that. I think it's really horrible and tough for people right now with these layoffs and everything going on. But you have a way, like I said, to go from the bottom where you're not just a number as an employee, but you're an investor. You own assets in these companies, and you're at the top of the top as far as their priorities are concerned, or to the shareholders, which is you, if you purchase paper assets in something like your 401k. Again, if you find this content valuable, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. As always, I wish you the best in your financial journey. Purchase assets and minimize liabilities. Get involved in something like a 401k to build your wealth over time. Thanks again for listening.